She said, "I'm going to a wedding in New York." Never said the groom was her ex. I stayed silent. Then I sent the bride their chats and pictures. And what happened next changed everything. I remember the night she packed. It was a Thursday. The kind that feels heavier than a Friday, like something's off even if you can't put a name to it. I was sitting on the edge of our bed, scrolling through emails, and she was by the closet, zipping up a carry-on. "We leave at noon tomorrow," she said, not looking at me. "Flights out of Newark." "We?" She flinched. Subtle, almost invisible. Then gave that half-smile she always used when she was hiding something behind her eyes. "I mean me and the girls. Cassie, Angela, Rachel, all of us. It's Amanda's wedding, remember? Upstate New York?" I nodded. I remembered Amanda. She worked with Emily at that PR firm for 6 months. Barely. I'd met her once. Not exactly close friends, but I didn't question it. Because when someone you love tells you they're going away for a wedding, the last thing you think is, she's lying. The last thing you expect is betrayal dressed up as a weekend trip. She kissed me goodbye that night like everything was fine. Said she'd FaceTime me when she landed. Promised to bring back a bottle of that wine I liked from the Hudson Valley. "Don't miss me too much," she said with a smirk, keys jangling in her hand. I didn't. Not until the third day. Because the first 2 days, she texted like normal. A few photos. One blurry picture of a table setup. One of her and Cassie drinking cocktails. All of it felt off. Like it had been planned, curated, not lived in. There was no mess. No real moments. Just evidence. Like someone trying too hard to prove something they weren't actually doing. It wasn't until Sunday that the knot in my gut twisted hard enough to wake me up. I was scrolling through Instagram, not hers. She'd been silent for hours. I was going through stories, tagged photos, random friends of friends. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for. And then I saw him. Trevor. The name hit like ice on bare skin. Trevor, her ex, her "it ended badly" ex, her "I was broken after him" ex, the one she swore she never wanted to see again, the one she had nightmares about for a year after they broke up. He was smiling, wearing a tuxedo, standing next to a woman in a white dress. And there she was, Emily, right behind them, in the goddamn bridal party, hair curled, makeup flawless, champagne in hand. And suddenly, I understood. It wasn't Amanda's wedding, it was Trevor's, and she hadn't just shown up. She was in it. I sat back, phone trembling in my hand, heart doing that quiet panic thump that doesn't scream. It just aches. She had lied, not just a little white lie. This wasn't forgetting to tell me she ran into an ex at a coffee shop. This was weeks of planning. This was betrayal painted in satin and silver and smiles. I didn't call her, I didn't text, I just watched. She posted nothing that night. The next day she called me like everything was fine. Said they were heading to brunch. Said the weather was cold but the ceremony was beautiful. I asked her how Amanda looked in her dress. She said, "Elegant, like a princess." And that was the first time I knew for sure. She was a professional liar. I let her speak. Let her tell me about speeches and dancing and some DJ that played old Taylor Swift. And when she was done, I said, "I hope you had a great time." She paused, said, "Yeah, I did." And I ended the call. Calm. Cold. Dead inside. But I wasn't done. Because what she didn't know is that I had saved every message she'd ever sent about Trevor. All the "I hate him" texts. All the "he ruined me" memories. And more importantly, I had something better. The pictures. The chat history. The late-night messages she thought I'd never find. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to confront. I was going to deliver a wedding gift, the kind that ends a honeymoon before it starts. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was angry, because I was still. And stillness has its own weight. It settles over you like dust on old furniture. Soft, quiet, undeniable. She'd lied, not just about where she was, but who she was. And that's the part people don't understand. It's not just the cheating. It's the way it changes your memories. It rewrites the past in your head. You start asking questions you never wanted to ask. Was she texting him the night we watched her favorite movie? Did she talk to him during our anniversary dinner? Was she ever really over him? Or was I just the person she used to pretend she was healed? Those questions don't have answers. But I had something else. Something more useful. I had evidence. She'd forgotten one small thing before she left for New York. Her iPad. It was synced to her iMessages. Not unlocked, but not locked either. I hadn't checked it when she left. I didn't feel the need to. I trusted her, fully, blindly. But now I opened it, and what I found was expected, hollow, sickeningly sweet and predictable. There were messages from Trevor, not months old, current, 5 days before she flew out. Trevor, you sure this is okay? Emily, it's your wedding. Of course it's okay. Trevor, feels risky. Emily, Marcus doesn't need to know. It's just one weekend. Closure, that's all. Closure. That word again. Like betrayal came with polite explanation. I kept reading. They'd been talking for weeks. She'd known about the wedding for months. She hadn't just decided to attend. She helped plan the pre-party. She helped him write his vows. I sat there staring at the screen, not blinking, not breathing. She was helping her ex get married, while lying to her boyfriend, while calling me every night and telling me she missed me, while pretending to be loyal. I copied the conversation, screenshotted everything, and then I scrolled back. I shouldn't have, but I did. There were old pictures, some from years ago, but some from 2 weeks ago. She'd gone to meet him once before the wedding. She never mentioned that. There was a photo, a mirror selfie. She was in his hoodie, wearing nothing else. I didn't scream, didn't throw anything, didn't text her some long, angry paragraph. I just sat with it, let it marinate, let the betrayal sink into my bones so deep I could name it by taste. And then I opened my laptop, typed in a name I remembered from the wedding posts, Lauren Green, the bride. I found her Instagram, private, but her business page wasn't. She was a wedding planner. Had her email in the bio. I copied it, paused, and then I sent a message. Subject, from one stranger to another. Hi, Lauren, you don't know me, and I didn't want to do this. Honestly, but there are things you should know. Things that might matter if you believe in starting a marriage without secrets. The woman in your bridal party, the one in the dusty rose dress. Her name is Emily. She's my girlfriend. Or, she was. She told me she was going to New York for a friend's wedding. She never told me it was yours. She never told me Trevor was your fiancé. She said she was seeing Amanda. I thought I should believe her. But she left her iPad behind. And I saw the messages. I saw the pictures. They've been in contact for a while. She visited him 2 weeks before your wedding. She told him I didn't need to know. I'm not sending this to hurt you. I'm sending this because you deserve to know the truth, before you build a life on top of a lie. Attached are screenshots. Do with them what you will. I'm sorry. Marcus, I attached 10 screenshots. Nothing explicit, just enough to unravel everything. The messages, the timestamp, the selfie. And I hit send. Then I sat there. Nothing heroic. Just a man trying to stay human in a story that stopped feeling real. The email went out at 2:07 a.m. By 7:41 a.m., she called me. Lauren. I let it ring. 5 times. Then picked up. Her voice was quiet, shaky, like she hadn't slept either. This is Marcus? She asked. Yes. There was a pause. Then, I'm sorry. I didn't want to believe it. But the hoodie in that photo, it's his. I'm sorry too, I said. Another pause. Thank you for telling me. And then she hung up. I didn't hear from Emily until the afternoon. She stormed into the apartment like a hurricane in heels. You told her? She shouted. I looked up from the couch. Yes. Are you insane? Do you know what you've done? I told the truth. That's more than you've done in weeks. She left him, Marcus. They called off the honeymoon. She's devastated. I shrugged. She deserves someone who knows what the word commitment means. You ruined a marriage. No, I said calmly. You did. I just refused to let you bury the body. She stood there, breathing hard, mascara smudged, hair wild. Then she whispered, I didn't think you'd ever actually do something like this. I stood up. You thought I'd forgive you. Silence. You thought I'd be weak. Her voice cracked. Can we talk about this? I nodded. Sure. Then I opened the door and held it open. She left. This time, for good. Breakups aren't loud. That's the biggest lie we're told. They're not dramatic thunderstorms with glass-shattering screams and door slams that echo through apartment hallways. Real heartbreak? It's silent. It's walking past her toothbrush every morning and realizing it hasn't moved in 3 days. It's noticing how the house doesn't smell like her shampoo anymore. It's the realization that the silence in the kitchen isn't peaceful. It's vacant. Emily was gone. The door had closed. Her footsteps faded down the hallway. And yet, she stayed. In the quiet. In the empty seat across from me. In the photos on the fridge. In the coffee mug she never took with her. The one that said, forever-ish. The first few days were numb. No texts, no calls, just a strange kind of silence that filled every room. But the world didn't stop for me, because truth has a weird way of leaking. By Wednesday, my phone started buzzing. A message from Cassie. Is it true? Then Rachel. WTF did you send to Lauren? Then finally, Angela. You just had to destroy everything, huh? I didn't respond. They weren't asking about the truth. They were asking why I exposed it. Because that's how people are wired. Not to protect the innocent, but to maintain the illusion. Emily's illusion had cracked. And instead of facing it, her circle chose to preserve her version of the story. By Friday, Emily had updated her social media. No more couple photos, no more tags, and one Instagram story that read, some people would rather ruin something than talk about what hurt them. I laughed when I saw it. Because that's what cheaters do best. Rewrite the script so they're the victims of the mess they made. But I didn't clap back. Didn't comment. Didn't like. Didn't even unfollow. Some things deserve nothing, not even a reaction. Then came the text I didn't expect. Trevor, Saturday, 11:17 a.m. Hey, can we talk? I stared at it for a long time, not because I wanted to reply, but because I couldn't believe the audacity. Talk? About what? How we both got played, or how he got caught? I let it sit unread. But that night, I got another, from an unknown number. It was Lauren. Thank you again. You didn't have to do that, but you saved me years of pretending. I stared at that message for a long time, too. And that's when something shifted. Because betrayal doesn't always leave you empty. Sometimes it leaves room. Room for dignity, for peace, for people who actually deserve your honesty. I replied, you deserve to know. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because no one told me the truth when I needed it. She sent a heart emoji, then added, if you ever want to talk, I owe you more than just thanks. We never met up, not romantically. But a month later, we grabbed coffee. And for 2 hours, we sat across from each other. Two strangers who were both supposed to be in love that month. Both supposed to be planning futures. Both blindsided by people who said one thing and did another. We didn't talk about them much. We talked about music. about old high school friends, about how weird it is when you realize someone you love was always wearing a mask, and you helped them tie the straps tighter every time you believed them. Lauren told me she canceled the honeymoon 2 days before they were supposed to fly to Tuscany. Her mom didn't speak to her for a week. Her dad quietly thanked her. She said she cried. Not because she missed Trevor, but because she realized how badly she'd wanted to believe the fantasy. I told her I understood. We all want the fairy tale. But some fairy tales are written in someone else's blood. Life moved on after that. I moved apartments, got rid of the bed, donated the wine glasses, threw out that forever-ish mug. But one thing I kept: a printed copy of the email I sent to Lauren. Framed it, not out of pride, out of principle. Because that was the day I learned. You don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need to fight to be strong. Sometimes the calmest man in the room is the one with the most power. And sometimes, truth is the gift. Even if it rips everything apart, you don't realize how much space a person takes up until they're gone. Not just their toothbrush or their scent on a hoodie. Not just the second pillow or the missing pair of shoes by the door, but the emotional weight. That silent tug in your chest every time you turn a corner expecting to hear her voice. That quick glance at your phone at 7:13 p.m., because that's when she used to text. Heading home. Even after she's gone, she lingers. Not because you want her to, but because muscle memory is stubborn. Weeks passed, then months. People stopped asking how I was, stopped tiptoeing around her name. Even my friends who initially questioned me slowly came around. They saw through the curated posts and stories she put up. They noticed how quick she was to shift blame, how conveniently she played the victim card. And somewhere in that quiet, after the noise faded, I found something I hadn't expected to. Peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from revenge or getting the last word. Real peace. The kind that hums in your bones when you realize you survived something that should have broken you. The kind that wakes you up one morning and makes you realize you didn't think about her yesterday. That's when you know you're healing. When she's no longer the first thing you see when you close your eyes. When her name doesn't come with a stab, just a shrug. When you stop needing answers. I started running again, stopped checking my phone at odd hours. I deleted her number, not out of spite, but because there was nothing left to say. I went to the lake one morning, the one she never liked because it was too quiet, and I sat on a bench for hours. No music, no phone, no thoughts about her. Just the sound of wind moving through trees and a ripple on the water. That was the moment. The one I'd been waiting for. When I realized closure doesn't come from a confrontation, or an apology, or one last talk. It comes when you stop needing any of it. I bumped into her once, 3 months after everything. Grocery store, frozen food aisle. She looked startled. Her hand froze over a bag of spinach. She was with someone, new guy, taller, clean-shaven. She gave me a half smile. I nodded. That was it. No words, no drama, no awkward small talk. She looked like someone I used to know. And that was the gift. Time had turned her into a stranger. The pain had burned out. And all that was left was nothing. I went home that night, sat at the kitchen table, and wrote something in my journal. She gave herself to someone else. I gave the truth to someone who deserved it. One of us lost sleep. The other found peace. I slept like a baby. A few weeks later, Lauren sent me a postcard from Italy. Not Tuscany, Amalfi. It was a photo of the sea with a handwritten note on the back. Turns out you don't need a honeymoon to start over. You just need honesty. Thank you again for everything. L? I smiled. Not because there was anything romantic between us, but because we were both okay. Maybe better than okay. We were free. It's funny. If you told me a year ago that I'd lose the person I thought I'd marry, and that I'd be grateful for it, I would have laughed in your face. But now I understand. Sometimes love isn't what saves you. It's what wakes you up. It shows you who you are, what you'll tolerate, what you won't. And if you're lucky, really lucky, it teaches you that silence, when earned, is more powerful than any shouted goodbye. I don't know where she is now. Maybe she's with someone new. Maybe she tells him the same stories she told me. Maybe he believes her. That's not my concern anymore. I gave my truth. I gave my silence. I gave my closure. Not to her, but to myself. And that's all I ever needed.